What's good, peeps? Thanks as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. All right, so Billy Joe Saunders is currently in Kazakhstan. MTK Global have a show out there. I'm not quite sure why Billy Joe's there. I'm guessing he's there in some sort of ambassador role or something. Anyway, in between one of the fights, Billy Joe Saunders steps through the ring and calls out Kazakhstan's #1 sporting hero, Ggg Golovkin. He didn't just call him out. He actually said he would fight Ggg Golovkin in Kazakhstan. Now, this isn't really a video about Billy Joe Saunders calling out GGG. He's done it before and he's probably going to keep doing it until GGG retires. This is more a video about GGG. I thought, well, there was a time anyway where I thought GGG was an anywhere, anytime type boxer, right? We haven't seen many of those in my lifetime anyway, but I thought GGG was that kind of guy. I thought he was a stand-up guy. I thought he was made from the same cloth as a Bernard Hopkins. We'll fight you anywhere, anytime. Now, granted, the money's got to be right, but if all the, if all the boxes are ticked, he will step into the ring and fight. He's not that guy. He clearly isn't that guy, and that's a shame because I'm a big, or was, or kind of still is, a big Ggg Golovkin fan. He isn't the kind of guy that will fight anyone. He isn't, and I should have known this. I think Andre Ward mentioned this about 4 or 5 years ago when there was some talk about Andre Ward versus Ggg Golovkin at 168 and it didn't happen. And Andre Ward mentioned that he isn't that kind of guy. He might seem like he's that kind of guy to us that don't know too much about what goes on in the world of boxing behind the scenes, but behind the scenes, he ain't that kind of guy. If Ggg Golovkin doesn't fight Canelo, he simply won't fight anyone notable. Fact, he won't do it. I gave him a bly with Vans, shouldn't have, but I gave him a bly with Vans because that was the build-up for Canelo. Canelo got popped and he didn't have that long to find an opponent, but regardless, could have fought someone better. Could have fought a guy that was 160, chose to fight Vans. I was like, all right, we'll give him a bit of a bly. Had that fight with Canelo, lost, disputed, came back, fought Steve Rolls. Who? Who did he fight? Steve Rolls. Yep, you never heard of him. I never heard of him either. But that's who he fought. Now, if this was a division that didn't have much depth in it, you can make excuses. You only want to see the top two fight each other. This division has fucking depth. And this division also has a lot of guys at 168 or 154. Very good names, champions that are willing to get into that 160 bracket to fight. Ggg Golovkin won't fight any of them. And I don't understand why. If Ggg Golovkin doesn't fight Canelo in September, and it's still 50-50 up in the air, guaranteed he will not fight a top guy. And I find it mind-boggling. Again, I thought he was the anywhere, anytime guy. He used to be. Now he's become a businessman. And look, some people might say, well, yeah, look, he's coming to the end of his career and, you've got to make your money. I get that. I do get that. But you can still make your money having good fights against good caliber opposition. Billy Joe Saunders isn't expensive. And I say this because I fully understand that Golovkin's the A side. Apart from Canelo, anyone else, Golovkin's the A side. So what normally happens, it's Golovkin's team or whatever that will pay the B side. Billy Joe Saunders ain't expensive. He's not expensive. Demetrius Andrade is not expensive. Charlo is not expensive. These are all guys. I don't think Demetrius Andrade has seen 2 million in terms of one paycheck yet. I don't think so. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders has, and I don't think Charlo has either. So these are all guys that we know 3-4 million gets them in the ring. It does, it gets them in the ring. And he's not willing to fight them. He's willing to fight Vans and Steve Rolls. I mean, the other day we heard Munguia possibly coming up to fight him, possibly. It's a shame. It really is a shame. We were spoiled, weren't we? We were spoiled with Bernard Hopkins. Because, I mean, the comparisons were being made between those two in terms of that middleweight run. I mean, Bernard Hopkins was a motherfucker anywhere, anytime, man. Anywhere, anytime. And a lot of his fights, after he done that jump from middle to light heavy, he wasn't favourite. He wasn't favourite. Joe Calzaghe was 50-50. I don't think people remember. He wasn't favourite to beat Kelly Pavlik. He wasn't. I mean, he was favourite to lose to Tava. Even the Jean Pascal fights were 50-50. That's an anytime, anywhere guy. Golovkin is upsetting me because he's not that. And I thought he was that. And the more he continues to duck the guys just below Canelo, it's going to affect his legacy. Maybe he doesn't give a fuck about his legacy. Maybe he only cares about those M's. Maybe You know, early on in his career, he just wasn't getting money, and he's seen money now, and he just wants to have that money, and he knows he only gets that money fighting Canelo. Or maybe he's just got to a situation in his career, which is fair, where he knows he's just not that guy anymore. He knows he isn't the Golovkin that ran through David Lemieux, Curtis Stevens, Martin Murray, all those kind of B-level guys. He knows he's not that guy anymore. And taking a fight against Billy Joe Saunders and Demetrius Andrade, it's just too risky. And he can't afford an L. Can't afford it, because if he gets an L, he misses out on that Canelo jackpot. And he wants that Canelo jackpot. But I find it so disappointing. I can't lie to you. I would like nothing more than to see Gennady Golovkin turn his back on 160 and go to 168. Nothing more. And I think Billy Joe Saunders is a fantastic fight for him at 168. I think it's a great fight, but it's not going to happen. And when you get A sides and B sides like this, if it ain't happening, it's because of the A side. Golovkin doesn't want it. Golovkin doesn't even mention his name. It's a fucking joke. Golovkin, my guy, I'm disappointed. I thought you were anytime, anywhere, and you're not. You're not, and that hurts me a little bit. Peace.